Indian Prime Minister Modi just laid the foundation for one of the world's 10 largest seaports, the Vadhavan Mega Port. As an emerging superpower with 1.4 billion people, India is a major contender in Asia and will tip the maritime balance of power. What makes this project so special, and how will it change the Asian continent? Let's discuss it in today's episode of Built Up. India just laid the groundwork for a $1.4 billion megaport in the city of Vadhavan. When Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the project, he didn't just cast a stone inside the port's foundation, he symbolically threw it at China's maritime dominance. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, aren't China and India close allies? After all, they're both part of the BRICS, right? Despite being two of the founding member states of BRICS, the Eastern organization set to challenge G7 nations, India and China don't always see eye to eye. Sure, they're part of an economic union, but China has been supporting India's biggest regional rival, Pakistan, for a very long time. Besides providing the area with massive investments in development and tech, they also made Pakistan the main focus of their Belt and Road initiative. It's no wonder that India is eager to join the US and China as one of the world's superpowers. After all, the Vadhavan port they're building cost an astounding 76,200 crore rupees, or just over $9 billion. And as a global superpower, India isn't threatened by population collapse, as is China, due to the old one-child policy that appears to have put a damper on the Chinese economy. To make matters more difficult for China, as tensions between them and the West escalate, nations are looking for alternative countries where they can invest. And India is proving to be a major opportunity at the moment. With this $9 billion port, India is on track to become a global superpower that could rival both the US and China. Now, don't forget to subscribe if you like the video so far. Now, the Indian Union Cabinet made a major decision on June 22, 2024. They approved the construction of the $9 billion megaport in the city of Vadhavan, in the state of Maharashtra. When completed, it will be one of the top 10 largest megaports in the world. In addition, Vadhavan Port will also be India's largest deep-water port. Before they begin construction, the Jawaharlal Nehru Port Authority will own 74% of the Vadhavan Port project, while the Maharashtra Maritime Board will control 26%. The port is strategically located on the western coast of India, just 130 kilometers north of Mumbai and 150 kilometers from the country's largest container port, the Jawaharlal Nehru Port. Because this megaport is such a colossal project, it's presumed that it will be completed in two separate stages. The seaport will have approximately 65 feet of natural draft, and it will offer state-of-the-art facilities. Because of the comb-shaped port, Vadhavan will have 9 container terminals where ships can load and unload cargo. Each will be 3,280 feet long, for a total terminal length of 29,500 feet. The engineers also included 4 multi-purpose berths, along with a dedicated ro-ro berth, a coastal berth, and a Coast Guard berth. To complete the project, the state will need to reclaim 1,448 hectares of land in the sea and build a 6-mile offshore breakwater and cargo storage area. From the Vadhavan port, trucks will be able to pick up the cargo containers and carry them down the 7-mile specially designed DFC, or dedicated freight corridor. To easily connect the port with transport vehicles, the state will build 4 different roads and railways. First will be the Western Railway, giving cargo trains access to the port by connecting to the existing network. Then comes the high-speed railways, where trucks will be connected to the Vadhavan port. There will also be the Mumbai-Vadodara Expressway and the NH08 Expressway, because the port was designed to blend modern functionality with natural beauty. That's why this is going to be a green port, surrounded by lots of forest land interlaced with expressways. This will ensure the Vadhavan Megaport is connected to all cities across India. The port is supposed to act as a hub for other freighter ships. Because of its centralized location, ships will dock at the Vadhavan port and load and unload cargo before continuing to their final destination across the globe. Once complete in 2040, the Vadhavan port will be a catalyst for economic growth and empower the community of the Indian state of Maharashtra. That's because it will have a capacity to handle 300 million tons of cargo every year. The project is going to provide local communities with job opportunities. More jobs means more growth for the middle class, just like many ports around the world. Other business will spring up around the project to help support the population. It's a win-win situation for those involved. Just this port alone is estimated to account for 1% of Maharashtra's GDP. This falls directly in line with the state's goal of reaching $1 trillion in GDP. And this is just one part of India's vision called Viksit Bharat. Roughly translated, this term means developed India, which means the government plans to transform India into a fully developed country by 2047, exactly 100 years from its independence. And if India wants to rival China as a global economic superpower, it will need to build not just this one, but many others, and improve regional connectivity within. Now, let's take a look at why China's influence in the region is so widespread. The short answer is, you guessed it, ports, and not just any kind of ports, mega ports. You see, a mega port has three distinct features: its cargo volume, the land and water area it uses, and the economic value it brings. For a seaport to be considered a mega port, it needs to have all three of these features. For a port to be considered a mega port, it needs to contribute about a third to the regional economy and occupy up to a third of the land area of the region. Across the world, some ports meet one of these criteria. For example, the Port of Singapore can handle a large volume of cargo, but they don't generate a lot of economic value because they have no trade clusters. Others don't generate enough value because they don't have industrial estates, like the one in Rotterdam, and others don't have thriving waterfronts, like that in Barcelona. For a megaport to be truly mega, it needs to have all three of these features. There are only a few countries in the world that can have megaports, and India is one of them. But not all countries can build megaports have actually done so. China tops the list with a total of 14 megaports, which is more than any other country in the world. Next is the United States with 4 megaports, followed by Vietnam with 3. The remaining countries like the United Arab Emirates, Spain, Malaysia, Indonesia and Germany have only 2, while Greece, Hong Kong, Japan, Panama, the Netherlands, Belgium and Saudi Arabia have only 1. India currently has 2 megaports. One is Mundra, located in the Gulf of Kutch, and the other is Nhava Sheva in the Arabian Gulf. Once they build the Vadhavan Mega Port, they will tie with Vietnam for the third spot of most megaports within a country. With its 14 ports, China is the gateway to Asia. They control all the major ports where ships from all across the world dock and disembark. And since around 80% of the trade moves by sea, China's strategy of controlling the maritime shipping network with state-of-the-art megaports has been crucial to China's development. And it's not just the fact that these ports are large. This graph from the Liner Shipping Connectivity Index shows that China's ports are some of the most connected in the world. And this is just the international level. Within the country, these ports are connected at an even greater scale. So if India wants to rival China, they'll need to build not only bigger, but better. With this project, India is going in the right direction. When India builds the Vadhavan port in 2040, they will not only help the local community, but they will also offer an alternative to ASEAN, an alliance of 10 countries in Southeast Asia and the West. After all, the ASEAN countries have been struggling to beat China's growing influence in the East, and the West is looking for different trade partners that will help counter China's dominance of maritime trade. As we speak, India is building relationships with ASEAN nations, and they're focusing on defense cooperation, cultural exchanges, and the development of the infrastructure in the region. That being said, even though India will be a major player in the Asian continent, they'll need to outdevelop the Red Dragon at its own game. So, what do you think of India's future megaport? Will this be the spark that lights the fire for Indian dominance in Asia? Tell us in the comments down below. Now, here's another video mega project enthusiasts enjoyed watching. Bye for now.